We're starting tonight with Daniel 2, 24 through 30 will be the first section. And this is the disavowal of Daniel, Daniel 2, 24 through 30. Then Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to execute the wise men of Babylon, and said to him, "Do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret his dream for him." Arioch took Daniel to the king at once and said, "I have found a man among the exiles from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means." The king asked Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, "Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it?" Daniel replied, "No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the visions that pass through your mind as you lay on your bed are these. As you were lying there, O king, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have greater wisdom than any other living men, but so that you, O king, may know the interpretation and that you may understand what went through your mind." We see two very distinct attitudes in this section. One of this Arioch, who was appointed to lead the execution of these wise men, what was his attitude? What does it say? "I have found a man." Well, isn't that nice how he took credit for finding Daniel? Let me see, who asked about going to the king? I believe Daniel asked him, right? But we see how this guy, there's new humility in this individual. He wants to take credit for finding this man that's going to be able to solve the mysteries of the king's dream. But Daniel, again, amazing, this teenager. Humble. He has a totally different attitude. What does he say? I can't tell you, but there's a God in heaven that can. He's very humble. He basically takes no credit. He comes to the king with dignity and humility. He's disavowed any ability of his own, and he's pointed Nebuchadnezzar to who? To God. Okay, so we see a very different attitude between these two guys. Daniel, again, meekly gave God all the glory. Now, again, we see in Daniel this courage, this wisdom, this humility, this grace, this poise. I mean, he's a teenager. And he's got it. I mean, he has got it. We look at it, if you go back, you think about Joseph for a second. Didn't Joseph kind of do the same thing when he was going to Pharaoh? He did the same thing. He said, I'm going to be the spokesperson, but really the God of heaven is going to tell you what you need to know. I can't do it, but God is going to reveal your dream to you. And we see the same thing. If you want to go back and look at that, it's Genesis 41:16. It says, "I cannot do it," Joseph replied to Pharaoh, "but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." So again, Joseph and Daniel are very similar in how they approach the king. Very humble, not taking credit, giving God the glory. The reason we talk about that is how many opportunities do we miss to give God the glory? How many times do we take credit for something that, it was surely by the blessings of God that those things took place. But we failed to give Him the glory. When are we going to, as a country, wake up and recognize how we have been so blessed? I mean, what's our nation's history? 1600s to now. So 400 years. And look at the accomplishments that have been made by and through this country. And basically, we want to take credit for all that. Yeah, we're just the smartest people in the world. We come up with all this stuff right by ourselves. And we give no praise, no glory to the one that provided us with these blessings. You know, He used this country to bring about a lot of change in this world. But we're on a different path now. But again, intellectual pride comes up. When you look throughout Scriptures, it tells us about pride, and some of the Scriptures talk about, 1 Timothy 3:6 talks about one of the requirements for spiritual leadership is not being a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, that person fall into the condemnation of the devil. Or the Proverbs 26:12, which we all know, is pride goeth before the destruction or the fall. So we see again how this intellectual pride. And if you look right now what's taking place in our culture and other cultures around the world that used to be very strong in their faith, very connected to God, what has happened to us? We've become so wise in our own eyes that we no longer need God. We're smart. We've got all this figured out. And so we don't need God. We can just put Him out the back door and we just forget about Him, and we're going to get even better. And over the last 30, 40 years, we can see what that arrogant attitude has brought to this country, and where we've gone from 1950s, after World War II, we really had a totally different mindset come upon us. And as a result of that, we have moved away from the foundational things that made this country great. And again, part of that is because of this intellectual pride that we have. We think we've got this whole thing figured out.